Gapplebee's. One of the finest food.
This episode brought to you by Gapplebee's. So we join you from back under the OBS. Transmission's in, you guys saw that last time. We've been messing around a little bit with the cable that was totally broken that we didn't break upon.
Broke it. I think it came like that when we bought it.
Yeah, it definitely was not us taking it apart. So we already ordered that though. It's in the other room. We're gonna get that fixed. It lines up really well. You guys can see it looks like it's just gonna hook right up and shift the old trans. So everything's looking pretty good. It does look like we're gonna have to massage the transmission tunnel a little bit as it's a little tight fitment. So we'll have to pull this back out and figure out what tools we're gonna use to do that with. But you know, we'll show you all that coming up. So what's next, Botan?
I test fit the exhaust manifolds, the L83 manifolds.
Nice.
I just kind of put them up there with 2 bolts just to kind of see, and it looks like the outlet's in a pretty good spot. We'll have the exhaust shop make us something to kind of come down, and of course the fuel lines won't be here, but we'll have plenty of room. We'll probably add some cats to this because we want to be legal beagles, of course. But both sides look like they'll work pretty good. I have it lowered so we could kind of finagle the transmission. We got some parts I wanted to open up and kind of show what we're doing. People are asking about the speedometer and the tachometer. So I basically just got on Dakota Digital's website and just kind of pieced together a couple of things. This is a speedometer interface, speedometer and tachometer, I believe. And what it does is it just plugs into your OBD2 port. But I'm going to hardwire this so we still have the OBD2 port open. I have the wiring diagram for it. But what this one does is it interfaces the network stuff, and we have a tach output and a speedometer output. It also has a cruise control stuff if you had like a cable drive cruise control. We have drive-by-wire, so we have a different way to do the cruise control. So this will be stuff we do after the engine. I just wanted to get it here and have it ready to go.
We do a lot with Dakota Digital on our turnkey packages for people, so it was a no-brainer on who we were going to go with for these parts.
And since we were running the factory gauges, we told them, you know, kind of what we were doing too, after we checked to see what parts we wanted. Cruise control. So this is kind of cool because this plugs in. We have to give it a speedometer input, but it plugs into the drive-by-wire connectors underneath the dash. So this will plug into our throttle pedal. We'll have to change the connector depending on if we use the Gen 5 or the Gen 4 style throttle pedal. I run the Corvette one, I think, on the dyno, and it has this connector. The one that came with the truck, the L83, is a little bit smaller connector, but it's the same signals both ways. It just has a different connector. So that basically plugs right in line with the harness, so it makes it really easy to add cruise control to something that doesn't. And I think they come with a throttle arm or cruise control arm for like the older cars. We didn't get that. We're going to use the factory OBS truck throttle arm for it. But basically I'll have to kind of interpret the signal from both of these and share that signal. And the last thing, they sent this little pigtail. I'm not sure what it is, but I guess it's like plugs in to one of these and takes a signal from one of the other boxes possibly. I'll have to check that out. Like I said, priority is to get the truck running, and then we'll add all of the accessories that we want to later, the cruise control, get the gauges working. This guy.
It seems like some pretty easy plug-and-play stuff.
Yeah, their stuff's set up real easy. It's made for the home user, really. So all of the Gen 5 computers and controllers have a network. So there's 2 wires that go to everything. It's kind of like running a network in your house. So to get one computer to talk to another, you have to plug it into the network. Now the new trucks that the L83 came with, it has all of that. So like your window motor, your fuel pump module, your engine control, your ABS, your airbag, everything goes through that same network. We don't have a way to decode that stuff for like the cruise control, and we have the cruise control that's on our steering column that we wanted to use. Also, we wanted to use the neutral safety switch features of the transmission. So we need to tell the truck when we're in neutral or park. We have to have a way to have the reverse lights. And we also have the Prindle display, which says where park lights up, reverse lights up, neutral, drive, all of those things we didn't have a solution for. But Dakota Digital, this isn't really made for our setup. This is made for somebody with like a 4L60. So it comes with a couple of accessories and universal brackets. And then it basically has all of the stuff. We're gonna have to hardwire this stuff in, you know, backup, power, ground, safety. And then all of these are outputs, except for the dimmer. I'm not sure what that's doing other than telling you that your lights are on. But this is gonna go on the side of the transmission, kind of like the 4L60 had, but of course an aftermarket way. And it's gonna go and show where this is, and we'll have an arm that, you know, turns this. And of course we have to set this all up, the location. It may go back here somewhere, it may go up here, you know, it just depends on your situation. This was the easiest way to tell, hey, we're in reverse, hey, we're in park, hey, we're in drive, for the truck to know. Not so much the engine computer, because it'll know that already. It's just that we can't take those signals easily out from the network and interpret them. So we had to have something mechanically tell us that stuff for the truck itself. Let me put that back. Yeah, that's a really neat setup.
Nice now, yeah.
Well, it's made for people that aren't that familiar with wiring. Like, it comes with nice instructions. We've used this stuff before because they actually have, like, for like an old classic car, they'll have one that has like an LED of park, reverse, neutral, and it'll just be like a digital readout of it. But you know, it has all of the stuff that you need. So, and it's pretty flexible. I thought this would be perfect for our setup. There was one company that has a box that does read the network stuff. This was like I think this was $100. The one that I found was $300. So I thought this kind of fit the budget and does a little bit extra compared to what the other one that I found did. And I recommended that they did one of these boxes that just did all three of these functions. And that may be out at some point. It's not out right now as far as I know. But maybe in the future it'll make the swaps a little bit easier whenever you're doing a swap in a car that has a full-on network like the new trucks have. If you're retrofitting that backwards to an older vehicle, there may be some better solutions in the future. It's just that currently there isn't. One other thing, I may have touched on this, is this truck already has an OBD2 connector under the dash. So let's say you are at the dealership and you're plugging in your Tech 2 scanner to read the ABS or the airbag system for a diagnostic code. Well, we're going to retain that one that's in the truck currently, and I'm going to add just a second one for the engine and transmission. I could probably make both of them work off of one, but let's say we do have an ABS problem and they plug in and they say, oh, 1997 truck. Well, it's not going to be able to connect to the engine controller. So when we scan the engine, we have to say it's a 2017 truck or 2018 truck, and we'll be able to just connect right into here. This will be useful more for the tuning side of things, maybe for some diagnostics like our speedometer breakout. We could plug into this if we just wanted to plug it in and just, you know, be easy. But I'm gonna actually hardwire this in, so you know, we'll have this open to use for tuning and what have you, without having to worry about replugging this in every time.
Will our check engine light work?
Yeah, I have our check engine light working.
Oh, nice.
That's easy. The other thing that I ordered, I don't think it was here when we did our other unboxing video. This is a bulkhead connector.
Oh, man.
So this, we have to drill, I believe it's 1.5 inch hole in our firewall, and this part will come through our firewall, and everything under the dash will be wired into this position. Everything underneath the hood will wire to this one, mating wiring. And basically we're gonna just, once it's wired, I'm putting it together wrong. Once everything's terminated and wired, we'll be able to just to connect it and basically complete the circuit from the under the dash to under the hood. And then, you know, you don't have to worry about stringing wires through a hole or a grommet. This just makes it real easy. And plus, if we're I'm planning on building most of our harness outside of the truck instead of leaning over the truck. We'll just do it on a table one day. We'll terminate. It's just real easy connections. So it's you need a tool to crimp down on these, but once it's done, it's it's OEM type stuff. So it's real reliable and it works really well.
Yeah, and we're coming down to the wire on this. I mean, we got about 8 weeks until LS Fest, and you guys see the state of this, so we got to really get to work. We want to have the heads and cam on it. Ultimately, I'd love to have all the suspension on it too. I mean, you know, we want to get it done. It's, like I said, it's getting close on time, so hopefully we have the time to get it all done. And we're definitely going to have it there. Just how much is done will be the question. So
the priority is getting the engine running, getting the transmission stuff sorted out, getting a drive shaft if we have to make any changes. I know the yoke's different on the front of the drive shaft. The length we should be able to finagle the engine mounts and stuff to where the length is about the same, but it just depends on the yoke dimensions also. So we may just make a drive shaft. It doesn't take terribly long to get one made. Plus the one that was in it was steel, so we might try to do an aluminum drive shaft also. But if we're changing the rear end later, maybe we'll just kind of go the cheap way out and modify this one to work. But let me lower this so we can look under the hood real quick.
we do have aftermarket upper and lower control arms coming. We have new coilovers coming. We have a 4-link coming. So we want to get all that in there too, but it's really getting close on time, so we'll see what all we can get done. Man, the fitment on these manifolds is really nice.
Manifolds are really great, actually. We still have to test our Texas Speed headers on it. We'll just kind of see if they fit without making any alterations. We might run the manifolds for the time being just to kind of make things work easier.
We definitely want to dyno it with the stock manifolds if we can, just to dyno it as stock as possible. Hopefully the stock airbox fits. Yeah. And then I'm still hoping before LS Fest we can get headers on it, we can get ported heads, a cam, and at least an induction kit. Maybe not an intake manifold yet, but...
So I have all the slack taken off our safety strap there. We still have to address the oil pan. I marked it where it's close. You can kind of see that line with the marker. So we still haven't really decided how we're going to address that yet. The easiest thing for us, just time-wise, is just to get another oil pan from like Holley, the Holley LS Fest, so why not run a Holley pan? And I think this was like a pretty deep sump right here. I mean, that's like 4 inches right here, from here to here. So, you know, if it was just like, instead of being 4, if it was just 3, it would have worked perfectly. But apparently the newer trucks have a little bit more generous oil pan clearance on the front of the sump.
I feel like the cooling system's going to work out pretty easily.
The cooling system will be pretty good. Somebody mentioned in one of our comments, I read through some of the comments, and they said to use the diesel surge tank that basically bolts right up here on the firewall where our overflow tank would go, and that would bolt right up and, you know, basically provide us with a surge tank using factory parts. So that was I don't remember his name, otherwise I'd give him a shout out, but thanks for the tip. It wasn't something I was thinking of. I thought we'd just buy a aftermarket one and, you know, kind of screw it to the fender or something. So we'll definitely take that idea into play. If it works, we'll definitely use it. I don't know, you probably can't see in the video, but the engine has a bit of an incline to it. There's a magnetic base one of these that you could use, but you know, I have my phone here in my pocket, so I'm just going to kind of roughly check it. And it's 7 degrees downward. So 6 degrees. We basically want half of that. So we're gonna have to lift up the transmission to get that. That's kind of what I was suspecting to do. So that's where our transmission tunnel clearance issue is gonna be a little bit of a problem. So we want that to be about 3. And that's about a 1/4 inch difference on the pulley from where the bottom is touching to the top. So that's what we have to work on pretty quick. We'll probably do that right now, actually. Remember the transmission mount was off a little bit? I took loose the left side Dirty Dingo mount, the slider. And I'm just gonna try to bump this over and see if I could align it. Oh, look at that. That was easy.
Right.
So I'm gonna lock that down, and we'll put the bolts back in it, because basically I don't want to push this up in the wrong spot. So I want to clearance it dead center where it's going to be riding at. We'll try to get it to make like a imprint in the floorboard of the transmission. It's not the best way to do it, but you know, we could do it. It's not going to really cause any problems unless we break the transmission in half. And if we do, we'll just tell Trevor, hey, this transmission came in broke. We don't know what happens.
Trevor, you might want to skip this part of the video if you're watching. Don't watch this part. Stuff's about to get real on your truck. Looks like our shocks got peppered with a little black spray paint there.
I don't know where that black spray paint came from. It was in the body shop earlier for some frame paint.
Oh yeah, I remember. Seth's body shop.
Seth's body shop.
We're taking it back to Seth's body shop for a little transmission tunnel work here. So let's get the. We're gonna use this transmission clearancing tool here.
We'll see how much room we've got with this. This thing, it needs like a button, like electric motor. It goes like 1/8 of an inch every pump.
The guy's arm is stacked on it though.
Yeah, that's why he's been having to pump this thing the whole time, so he's gets that one arm that's ripped. Kind of is difficult. It's going to be hard to check the angle. I could check it on the pulley, I guess, and see where we're at.
I think we're pretty much gonna have to give it all it's got and then hope that's enough. Oh, I can see him moving the floor a little bit.
Yeah,
nice.
It definitely is. Well, the good thing is that sheet metal gives way pretty easily. So we'll just give it a couple of pumps like that. Make sure we don't take too much weight off the front. Starting to on this side, you can kind of see it's not going to go anywhere, but we'll just kind of see what it gave us. And I want to check our driveline angle real quick with it at that angle. Remember, I have to subtract 2 from whatever this reading is. So that's no different, Seth. Did you lie to me? It's 1 different. All right, that's about as much jack as we've got. We're taking some weight off the front too, so this is starting to get a little bit unsafe. So from here, if we need extra clearance, we'll have to use a floor jack, and we'll just lower the truck down and lift up the transmission. But it gave us a pretty good amount of clearance. I mean, that's what, like 1.5 inches or so. And we'll have to check our driveline angle at this height so we know, how much spacer we need here. This may be too high, but we have to give it a little bit extra. We can't just run it up and have it up against the floorboard. But as we're lifting it, you can kind of see the sheet metal kind of bow up a little bit. And I don't even think you'll be able to tell with the carpet in there that we even did anything.
No, I don't.
But we'll take a look in there too when we get it lowered. But
I sure hope it comes out this easy. That all we had to do is push that up in there. You go ahead and get the jack under this. I'm gonna go out into the shop and show everybody what we're working on out here right now. So I happen to know where we got a certain engine for another YouTuber in the machine over here. Let's take a look and see, what stage of the build it's at.
oh, thank you, honey. No problemo, bro.
So this is B is for builds, new lead sleeve block, and what's happening right now is it's stroker clearancing it. That's right. That is right. So we'll let that keep doing that. We're gonna do a whole video on that engine getting built. So little taster for you, little teaser. Now we'll head back in and get back to work on clearancing that transmission tunnel for shop truck. What the heck do we got going on here?
Doing some off-camera adjustments. I may have broke that board.
Hopefully you didn't break the transmission pan.
yet.
I mean, hopefully the transmission pan wasn't broken when it came
I
in.
mean, it was rolled over off the back of a train.
I mean, nobody would blame us if it was broken when we took it out of the crate or anything like.
It's
Oh,
perfect.
it looks primo.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I'm gonna go look inside.
I don't think I added very much. We may just have to manually massage the tunnel.
There's definitely a little bump in there.
Yeah. We might be able to do like, might be kind of cool to see how the engine's just, it looks right now instead of being at the angle.
It definitely looks a lot
Well,
closer.
maybe we could do like before and after of the transmission at the wrong angle versus the right angle. We could just set the
Yeah, you
the
can
camera
see. I
angle.
mean, hopefully you can see on the camera. It looks a lot, a lot flatter
it
now.
looks right.
Yeah,
It looks like it's at the right angle, and that's just us spending not even 5 minutes trying to adjust it. So I'll take my socket back out and we'll show it back down, and then see where we could see where the clearance massaging has happened, and then we could have those spacers made. I don't think it would take anything. I don't know if I'm going to make a round spacer on our lathe. Shelby Mike can make those real easy, or if we're going to make one the same shape as the transmission mount. Either way, it gets the job done. So we'll just have to see what we want to do. Hopefully we could see the imprint.
Yeah, you can definitely. Time for the air hammer yet, Bojack?
I don't think we need to change it very much more. Let me shut down Draggy. Yeah, there must be like a gusset on the top of the transmission, because I see like
Yeah, there is
an imprint right there. And then the back's just kind of concave up. So the good thing about this is if we need any more, we could just kind of use that as our guide, our reference point. We could just take one of the, like a dead blow hammer, and climb under here with the transmission removed and just kind of force it up a little bit more. We could always use the floor jack some more, but you could see it was already kind of denting in the pan. This was just kind of like an easy makeshift. If I was at home and needed more clearance, this is how I do it at my house versus cutting apart everything. So I think that's the best way we could show that for a normal guy. We're just going to take a measurement of this gap. This will be kind of our starting point. Is that like looks like it's about 1.5 inches. Yeah, right about 1.5 inches. So we'll figure out a way to make a spacer that's 1.5 inches, so we could space that transmission up. That'll be a good starting point for us. It's a fairly round number, and even if it's 4 degrees engine angle, I have a feeling the oil pan's holding us up. So if we drop the front down, it'll probably be at least 1 degree. It might go down to 2 degrees. If that's the case, then we'll have to shave that spacer down just a little bit. But that's the target. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. There's probably people that have 6 degree engine angles. There's probably people with 10. There's probably people with a -5. That's just kind of the target number that we're going for. It did look wrong when we set it down, and it just kind of, where we just laid it, we played it as it laid. It was definitely looked wrong. So from the top, it looked perfect.
Yeah,
so I would like to leave it at this angle, at least as close as we can to that, and we could just lower this down while we wait for our spacer solution.
Okay.
Because it's not going to go anywhere. Trevor said some of the other parts came in. Have you seen those things?
No, I think they said they send them out here or something though.
Let's take a
So
look and see what we
let's
got. 'Cause I remember ordering some more stuff. I think it was some GM stuff.
Woo! Oh, here it is.
Alright. This is the accessories that we needed. So that's the AC accumulator. Remember one guy, how convenient, a razor blade. One guy said we should go to the 95 Chevy accumulator.
Yeah.
So it's a forward mount. So I went ahead and had Trevor order that. And yeah, he's right. So basically it's straight in and out. So it'll be more convenient for the AC lines.
Okay.
I also ordered the AC lines off the 95 truck because it might actually end up being in exactly the right angle for everything. So
That'd be nice.
those things kind of are all off the same truck. Go on to the next stuff. This is, oh no, I lost my razor. This is obviously the AC compressor. In one of our videos we showed that we got the Sandin AC compressor because we weren't sure which way we were going to go, so we just wanted to get some parts really quick and on the way here. This is the 95, kind of going along with the accumulator and the AC hose. We're going to run the R4 compressor from the 95 truck. So all OEM parts, now those brackets that Dirty Dingo sent us will fit this compressor, the R4 compressor, or the Sandin compressor. And I just happen to see that this is from Dirty Dingo, but they said we just have to run a different bolt in it, but the bracket's the same. So that's really convenient. I thought we were gonna have to send the brackets back and get some different brackets for the R4 compressor, but easy enough. That's an easy fix. So we just kind of keep all that stuff together. We'll probably be fitting this stuff as soon as we get our oil pan issue done, because we'll have the final install of the engine after the oil pan's done. So this is like from O'Reilly's or somewhere. There's going to be a theme going here. Everything for the accessory drive has been from a 95 truck. 91 to 95 technically. This is no different. This is a Ziploc bag. We could put some venison in here later for a deep freezer. And that is a power steering pump. Okay. So I also ordered the hose from a 95 truck. So this is the pressure hose. So this will go back on our power steering gear, and then the hose will tie in here. The Vortec one's a little bit different. We could use the Vortec pump, but it has like 98,000 miles on it, and everything else was being new. So I'm like, well, for 60 bucks, why not get a new power steering pump? It was an easy choice. And our return hose should just go right back on here, no problem. We may have to trim it or make a longer hose, but it's low pressure, so it's easy enough to use with, you have to use an oil hose. You can't use like a PCV hose. You have to use like a good oil hose, oil compatible hose, hydraulic oil. Set that aside.
It's like just one more box.
Yeah, it looks like this one's been thrown.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Ace Ventura video where the guy at the beginning's like tumbling the box? Looks like somebody's been tumbling this box during shipping. We'll blame the GM guys. They don't know that we're gonna throw them under the bus. Alternator I ordered.
Except for it's broken.
Is it broken?
Yep.
Okay.
Dang,
We'll
we're
have to
gonna
send
this
that
back.
But I'll talk about it while we're here. This was just from Chevrolet or GM dealer. So the Dirty Dingo, oh look, it was approved. Must have shipped. And when the box tumbled out of the back of the truck, it must have broke.
We do not approve this. We're gonna have to send it back and get it.
Yeah, we'll
that's
send
not
it
broken.
back and get a new one. The thing is, we might end up having to trim this for clearance anyway, but like you said, we'll send it back, get a new one, and if we're trimming one, it'll be a brand new one that's not broken. So anyway, this is a 98 F-body alternator from a LS1, original LS1. So in the F-body, it'll sit down on the bottom. Here would be the crank pulley over here. With the Dirty Dingo stuff, it relocates it basically up to the top. But the reason I got this one was because this one still uses the battery light on the dash. So we just have to wire this directly, and the factory gauges are gonna send 12 volts to this. A, it's gonna energize the alternator. B, the light will work. So as long as everything's working, that light will light up just like the truck did originally. So this is only 1 year difference from our truck. Our truck's a 97, this is a 98. makes it a little bit simpler to use stuff pretty close to the same year model. The later models didn't work exactly like that, like the C5 and C6 alternator, even though it looked similar, it was also actually computer controlled. So we wanted to go back to basics, basically, kind of like what the truck would have came with. So we'll send that back actually and get one that's the same but not broken.
I don't think we'll have a problem. We got a little pull around the GM dealerships.
Yeah, between LS9 gaskets and head bolts and what else do we use from
about
it?
everything else.
Oil pumps, timing chains. There's a lot of GM stuff that we use, even though we do 99% aftermarket stuff. There's a big portion that we reuse GM stuff. Oh, look, here's one more box.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Oh, that's that transmission line, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the one that you broke.
That was broken when it came in.
Oh, that's right. It was broke when it came in. Oh crap, this looks a little bit more involved than I remember. Okay, so this is this part that's exposed. We broke it right here. So we broke this part when we were doing the tear down carelessly. So this is going to go up underneath the carpet and all the way to the shifter on the steering column.
And shift our transmission.
Yeah, so this still should connect to our 6L80 shifter lever. So there's some adjustment in here if we have to adjust it, so it's kind of makes it convenient. This will be something OEM that we're using that we don't have to really modify a whole lot.
Does this go all the way up into the column?
Yeah, all the way to the column. And then shift lock is underneath the column also. So, you know, when you turn the key on and you pull it down, with it off, it locks it into park. So this is pretty close to where that location is. I don't think this is hard to change. I think we'll have to probably pull up just the driver's side of the carpet, maybe partially, some bezels on the dash. And we don't need to film this or show you guys this stuff. This is just, we broke it, so we're gonna fix it, kind of off camera. It's not really related to the swap, but we've talked about it enough. You don't wanna see any more of this.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for the day. We only got 6 minutes left here, so we'll go ahead and bring this stuff over to the truck and, yep, till the next video. See you guys later.